Hello, good morning, maybe good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. We're just going to give a minute or so to let everyone kind of trickle in from the waiting room before we get started. Good morning, good afternoon. Just give a couple more seconds to see if we have any folks left to trickle in. All right, I think we're good to go. Tracy, if you'd like to get us started.
Great. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. My name is Tracy Laliberty, and I'm the Executive Director for the Center for Advanced Studies in Child Welfare. And it is my pleasure to be able to welcome everybody to the Zoom presentation today on behalf of our center, the University of Minnesota's College of Education and Human Development, and the School of Social Work. Today's event is made possible through funds by the United States Department of Health and Human Services that is managed by the Minnesota Department of Human Services Child Safety and Permanency Division. This webinar is the fifth in our series that we have put together, focused on permanency and transition to adulthood for youth in the child welfare system. This webinar is one that is critically important as we have the privilege of hearing directly from youth. We typically have an in-person conference each spring. However, due to COVID-19, we were unable to gather in that way. We are fortunate to have the technology available to us in this country that brings us together virtually so that we can still learn and be together. We must start this webinar. We want to start this webinar by acknowledging that our university and the land on which we are broadcasting this webinar in Minnesota is the unceded, traditional, ancestral and contemporary land of the Dakota people, who are the first people of Minnesota Makoche. By offering this land acknowledgement, we affirm tribal sovereignty and work to hold both the university, ourselves, and our partners accountable to American Indian peoples and nations. We also acknowledge slavery's deep roots and recognize the significant role that captive and free African Americans have played in building our country, the United States of America today. Finally, I'd like to extend my sincere thanks to Karina Berry, Denise Cooper, Karen Sheehan, and Nora Lee from our outreach team for their hard work over a difficult many months as they bring both the CW 360 publication and this webinar series to you all. And now I'd like to introduce Karina Berry, our Director of Outreach, and she will introduce our speakers.
Bonjour, hello everyone again. My name is Karina, and as Tracy said, I'm the Director of Outreach for CASCW, and I am just going to share a few logistics before we get started. If everyone could please remain muted for the duration of the webinar, unless our presenters say otherwise. And please utilize the chat box to send comments, ask questions. I know our youth, our presenters today are really looking forward to engaging you all in different ways. And I'm also going to send in the chat box right now, just so I don't forget, a link to our webinar, fall webinar series, as well as a link to our 2020 CW 360 publication, which actually features two articles, one on Ampersand Families and a number of efforts taking place there, as well as one of our youth presenters today has an article in that publication, and we'd love for you to check it out. So you feel free to download a digital copy of that publication by clicking the link. And I also included a link to our CASCW podcast because we are very fortunate to interview two of the MYVoice youth leaders for an episode for our Child Welfare in a Pandemic series. And so that's another way to hear more about the wonderful work that MYVoice and Ampersand Families are doing. And so I think, and I will, following our presentation, I'll be emailing everyone a copy of the PowerPoint, CEUs, a link to the recorded webinar, and any resources maybe that are mentioned during the presentation. So I think at this time, we can get started. And so I will allow Emily to introduce herself and share a little bit more. So Emily, feel free to take it away.
Thanks so much, Karina. We really appreciate being here. And I'm actually going to throw it to Stacy here at Ampersand Families to tell you a little bit more about our organization.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for being here. I'm Stacy Geringer, Program Director at Ampersand Families. We are a nonprofit in Minnesota that serves the entire state of Minnesota. We serve older youth in foster care who are in need of permanency resources and adoption. And then we serve families who are interested in being a permanency resource for youth. We have variety of programming to support our families, and then we have some programming to support our youth. And MYVoice, Minnesota Youth Voice, is one of the youth programs that Emily, well, actually Armanda will describe in more detail. And it really was born out of, we had families come together a lot and youth come together a lot for retreats and different events. And we saw how powerful it was when we got young people together to just connect and be one and share their experiences. And so that is kind of the origin of MYVoice. And so I'll let Armanda talk a little bit more about that.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. So to give a little history on MYVoice, to reiterate Stacy, it stands for Minnesota Youth Voices. We are a diverse group of youth that have been impacted by the Minnesota foster care system, and it's open to any impacted youth ages 12 to 22 years old. We focus on connection, education, and change. We also host social events, virtual meetings, facilitate a leadership council, attend panel presentations, make media, participate in advocacy work, and offer a peer coaching program. And you can learn more about MYVoice through our website at www.myvoicemn.org, or check out our Instagram page as well at MN Youth Voice.
Thank you so much, Armanda and Stacy, for letting folks know a little bit more about Ampersand Families and about the MYVoice program here. My name is Emily Lindell, and I am the new Youth Leadership Program Coordinator and MYVoice Facilitator here at Ampersand Families. It's really my honor to be working with the young people who are on this call today. They are truly youth experts, and they're 4 really awesome young people with amazing experience and expertise to share about permanency and the transition to adulthood. It's also really important to note that these young people cannot and do not represent the entire experience of all young people who have experienced foster care. We know that the youth in the child welfare system are more diverse in terms of race and gender and sexuality than we are representing today. So we want to thank each of you for being here and listening to these youth voices, and also want to remind and encourage everybody to keep listening to youth voices and to really continue to seek out those diverse perspectives, because we do need all voices at the table to understand the wide breadth of experience of youth in care, and to be able to tap that expertise to really transform these systems to better serve the young people who are in them. So I also want to let you know that in our presentation today, the young people who have created this presentation are really excited to share their experience and their wisdom with you. But they are also excited to exchange information. So one thing you'll notice as a part of this presentation is that we're going to have an audience poll that we're going to ask you to complete. We are going to have a couple of survey questions that we're going to ask you to answer in the chat to really make sure that this is a two-way street between the expertise that these young people are going to share with you, and also giving them a chance to learn about you, the participants in this program, child welfare professionals, and what you bring to the table, or what's caused you to be a part of this sort of work, or what sort of experiences you might have had in your own life. So I just wanted to let you know that we are inviting you to share some things from yourself as well. Also, you can ask questions at any time in the chat. As Stacy said, and Karina said, we'll be getting to those time permitting at the end of the presentation, but feel free to ask them at any point in time. We do have somebody watching the chat to keep track of those. Lastly, I wanted to let you know that even though I am going to be facilitating and speaking a fair amount during this presentation, I want you to know that it is truly a youth authored presentation. We've been meeting together for many weeks, and the design and the content, the multimedia aspects, and the questions that we are asking you, as well as asking our panelists today, are all coming from the youth who are on this call and other youth who we've had involved in this process. So I just want you to know, even though you'll be hearing my voice a little bit today, it is truly a youth-centered production. And we're really excited that you're here. And we're going to start out with Lexi giving you letting us know a little bit about our first audience poll. Lexi, can you go for it? I'm not hearing you.
All right, there we go.
There we go. Awesome.
So yeah, as Emily said, I will ask you 3 questions as part of a poll. So, and we'd like to know if you've ever had like a personal experience in foster care, the child welfare system, or adoption system. So the question number 1 is, as a child, were you or your birth siblings in foster care, child welfare, or adoption? And yes or no. That's a yes or no question. Question 2 is, as a child, were any of the following of the true of the questions true for your family? So like, did you have foster kids in your house, or did you have adopted kids in your house, adopted siblings, or did you have no experience at all with foster children? And question number 3 is, as an adult, have you been a foster parent, been an adoptive parent, or have you? I mean, what's the last question? What's the last answer?
Oh, have you provided kinship care for relative children? Or go ahead.
Yeah, have you provided kinship care for relatives?
And also, one of the last options on that is whether or not your experience with the child welfare or adoption systems have been primarily as a professional. And is there a survey that the participants are able to see for that, Karina?
Yeah, so sorry, everyone. The poll, I don't know, it's not working. But Lexi.
Do you need me to stop my share for a second? Do you think that would help?
No, I think it would show up either way.
I can add a poll if you'd like. People are answering in the chat.
Yeah,
Karina.
people right away started answering in the chat.
Okay.
Just for time's sake, apologies, Lexi, messing up your flow.
Oh, it's okay.
But what we could do, if it's helpful, I guess let us know if we can help. But folks started right away answering right in the chat.
Then that's fine if people feel comfortable. We know that these are sensitive questions, and we just the poll function was going to add a level of anonymity, but if people are comfortable answering in the chat, I feel like I think that's okay if you're willing to watch that, Karina, and just let us know in a little bit when we get to that point to kind of summarize some responses.
Yep, can do. Sorry again about that.
All right, it's technology. This is how it goes. And we're thrilled to be able to be here, and we're thrilled for all the things that technology allows us to do and connect with. So thanks for sharing those questions, Lexi.
Yeah, no problem.
The next thing we're going to do is give the youth, while you're answering these questions in the chat, the next thing we're going to do is have our youth experts introduce themselves on the call. So we're actually going to hear again from Lexi. If you'd like to introduce yourself and tell everybody a little bit about you.
Yeah, so I'm Lexi. I came into foster care in 2012. I was 13 years old. I first went to my uncle's house for 10 months, and then I moved to Maplewood. And I was there for 8 months, and then I moved to my sister's house because we were separated at first. We were separated, so I moved to her house and her family, which was really a blessing. And then in 2016, I was diagnosed with a brain tumor, which was later removed in 2018, and I'm almost 3 years tumor free, so that's really good. And I'm currently living with the family I've been with for 5 years, since 2015. And I love them very much. And I'm in Roseville. I go to college. I'm in a sophomore in college. And I consider my foster mom and dad as my mom and dad because I don't consider them foster parents. They're my mom and dad. And yeah, that's just about me.
Thank you, Lexi.
Yeah.
Next we'll go to Leo.
Hey, my name is Leo. I'm from Missouri. I moved to Minnesota at the age of 4, and I've been in the system until the age of 16 when I got adopted by Brandon and Brian in Duluth, Minnesota.
Thank you, Leo. Ryla?
Hi, my name is Ryla. I was first put into the system at the age of 4 as well as Leo, and I got adopted at 15 or 16. I can't remember, to be honest, but I love my family and I'm very grateful that they adopted me.
Armanda?
Hello, I'm Armanda. I'm 22 years old. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I entered the foster care system when I was 5 years old, and I was adopted with my younger biological brother at the age of 10. But I went back into the foster care system at 15, and I was adopted by my forever family at the age of 17. And we just recently celebrated our 5-year gotcha day. I'm also a full-time college student studying social work with minors in gerontology and human relations. And I'm a youth leader at MYVoice and a peer coach through Ampersand Families.
Thanks, Armanda. Thanks, everybody, for your introductions. Now, if we've got a sense maybe of what some of these poll responses are, as far as what sort of experience people have in the child welfare system, Karina, do you want to share any of those with us? Whether or not the folks in this call have been involved personally in the child welfare system, had families of origin that were involved with foster siblings or adopted siblings, or maybe primarily folks who have had professional experience in this field?
I would say from reading the comments, most people, there's a lot of no's, with some folks saying, you know, they had other like caregiving, you know, like they were raised with a grandmother versus, you know, in their parents' households, some folks with professional experience, some folks who have, I think I'm skipping a question. I think it was mostly no's for personal experience.
All right. That's good information, and it's another great reason that we're having this presentation today, because we are going to get to hear so much from youth with a great deal of experience in the system, and so it'll be a great opportunity to be able to exchange that information. Is there anything else you wanted to add from those, Karina, or
for across all?
I just didn't want to run on to the next thing unless if you had anything else to share.
Specific to question 1, or are you asking for all questions?
For all of them.
Okay, so for number 1, just a quick summary, it seemed like most folks said no personal experience, and a lot of folks, I think, saying they have professional experience working within the child welfare system. And then some folks with absolutely personal experience, either adoptees themselves or have provided foster care and cared for youth in care. One person did just say, yes, most of their life, their mother did provide foster care and that they are a provider now. Yeah, so kind of a mixed bag of experience, both personal and professionally.
That's great. And that's really good for us to be able to keep that in mind in terms of as the youth panelists are answering these questions, there will be people who have maybe had experiences that are similar to or complementary to, or just different angles on all of this realm of the child welfare system and foster care. So thanks everybody for sharing about your experiences. We appreciate it. Our next question is going to get a little bit more to the theme of this conference. And again, this is a question that is about this core of the of this webinar series. Lexi, would you like to introduce this question?
Yeah, I'd love to. So the next question is, what did turning 18 mean to you? Was it scary? Was it exciting? Did you have full support? Did you look forward to your 18th birthday, or did you dread it?
So if you can share what turning 18 meant to you in the chat, that would be greatly appreciated. We will return to those answers with Karina a little bit later on, and you're also going to get to hear more about what this question has meant to the youth participants on this call. Hey, Leo, do you think you could do an introduction for the MyVoice Interactive piece?
Okay. We decided to give the youth a chance to express how they feel about turning 18. And these are the questions we asked. We asked, what's the best thing about turning 18 and what's the worst thing about turning 18? And this is what they sent in.
All right, so we've got a bunch of different artwork here from young people answering these questions, like Leo said. Here's the first piece in answer to a question about the best things about turning 18. This young person also submitted this artwork about the worst part about turning 18. And we've got this written piece from Lexi.
Yeah. So when I was 12 and I first entered the system, I thought of turning 18 the thought of 18 scared the crap out of me. 2013, I was diagnosed with anxiety, so any thought of the future scared me. I think in July of 2019, I realized it was time for me to turn 18 and age out of the foster care system for the youth. I entered adult foster care. In my opinion, the best thing about turning 18 for me was the fact that I could sign my own medical papers. The worst thing about turning 18 was the fear of not having anybody to be there to help me out in life. But the best thing about but after turning 18, I decided to have foot reconstruction surgery, and my foot works so much better now.
Excellent, thank you, Lexi.
Mm-hmm.
We've also got the next couple of pieces by Ryla. Would you like to share about these, Ryla?
Yeah, I can do that. So this was the worst part about turning 18, or the not so good part. And in the little bubbles, it says like little things where I struggled with. So making your own decisions, work, bills, taxes, and finishing school. But it all kind of like has that responsibility piece where like you're an adult now, you have to do it on your own. And this one was the good part about turning 18 was I was in control again. I didn't have my parents telling me what to do. I could buy lottery tickets. I could go to the casino. I could make my own decisions. And just having that title of like an adult kind of made me feel more independent and free from whatever my parents did. Like, I don't know.
Thank you, Ryla.
Mm-hmm.
Our next piece is a video piece, and the sound is kind of low on this. And so I'm just going to ask those of you who are streaming this webinar, you may want to turn up your audio just for this 60-second video so that you can hear what Vinny has to say. Because my sound is up as high as it goes. Here you go.
The best thing about being 18 is you get more privileges to do fun stuff that you aren't able to do when you're younger. You get to go out and have fun with your friends more, stay out late. But the part that sucks the most, the worst part, is that adulting. You got to prepare to be an adult, or starting to know how to pay rent or get a house or get a job and be a grown up. Just basically a grown up. That's the part that's the worst. But also like all like the fun stuff that you want to do for gambling too is the best part about being 18. The best thing about being 18.
All right, then our next piece is from Armanda.
So I wrote this little kind of poem, 18. ACTs, college applications, last year of high school. Time moving so fast, it's almost hard to grasp. Homecoming week, prom, clocks ticking as we speak, cheerleading, winning state, my excitement at its peak. Tears of joy, congratulations, name change, papers signed, my heart is finally at peace. I have found my voice, and now my forever adoptive family. Birthday party and graduation next week. What a great way to end this crazy chapter. Turning 18 has been kind to me. And then I also wrote 18 concerns. So this is my worst part about turning 18. 1, I did not pass my driver's test. 2, I could not afford a car. 3, I got a low score on my ACT. 4, challenges changing my name on my social security. 5, still struggling with discovering me. 6, deciding on a college. 7, is this family what I deserve? 8, therapy digging deep. 9, night terrors. 10, missing biological brothers. 11, unknown future. 12, scared to leave my cat. 13, scared to live somewhere longer than a year. 14, nervous on if someone would ask me to prom. 15, what to wear to prom. 16, what do I want to do for a career? 17, will miss my job at the 2-story Target, the Nicollet Mall Target. 18, will I ever allow myself to be happy?
Thank you, Armanda. And thank you to all the youth who contributed their artwork to this art show. It was a lot of fun to be a part of these conversations. And as you can see, there's a lot of different things going on for young people who have experienced foster care and adoption. A lot of themes around responsibility and control, around bureaucracy, around family and belonging, around lottery tickets, and around the continued search for self. Our next part here is going to be the second part of our audience survey. We are interested in the answer to this question about why you chose to work in the child welfare field. The young people on this call were really curious about what motivated you as professionals to become a part of this field. So if you can answer that question in the Zoom chat, we will again return to these survey answers a little bit later on after we've had a chance to hear some more from the youth about their own experiences. All right, now we're gonna get into some deeper conversation on some youth perspectives, particularly about turning 18. So our first question for our panelists is, what did turning 18 mean to you? All the young people on this call are at least 18 years old, so they've been there, done that. Lexi, do you want to get us started?
Yeah, I'd love to. So turning 18 was a little scary to me because I didn't know what was going to happen. Like I didn't know if I was gonna go into adult foster care, if I was gonna age out of the system, like what was gonna happen. I had no idea. But once I turned 18, it wasn't as scary as I thought. I stayed with my family, who was a blessing to me. I stayed with my family. I had stuff done. I went to college. I had a lot of support too. So
Great, thank you, Lexi. Leo, you're up next. We're not hearing you, so you might be muted.
Oh yeah, whoops.
Thanks.
Turning 18 brought me into a bunch of weariness, but I lost a bunch of friends, but I also found who are my better ones. And it turned my life around in certain different ways. I don't know how to explain it the best.
You're doing a good job. So it was a time when you were facing a lot of changes in terms of your social life and your friendships?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Ryla?
So turning 18 meant that I was finally free from the system. And that kind of meant to me that like I was a part of my birth family again in a way, which sometimes is not a good thing. And I, like I said in my art piece, I had more control. I moved out and got to do things on my own for once.
Thank you, Ryla. Armanda?
Turning 18 to me, I graduated high school. I was looking at what college I wanted to go to and decided on one. It also meant like I could finally have, I could reconnect with my younger biological brother when we got separated during the system as well.
Thank you. Anybody have anything else to add about what turning 18 meant to you? Okay. So our next question for our panelists is, what kind of support do you wish that you had around turning 18 and becoming an adult? I know, Lexi, you had some things to say about this. And you're muted.
So what kind of support I wish I had becoming an adult was I really wish I had support from like an actual caring worker who has actually cared about things. And didn't just like come in to see me once every 2 months and just be like, oh yeah, I came to see you. But I was actually like there to like come and be like, how are you doing? Sit down with me and talk to me like how I'm doing. And that's why I want to be a social worker, because I want to sit down with kids and say like, how are you doing? Like, how is your week doing? How is your month doing? And like, I just want to like know how kids are doing like mentally, because if you don't know how kids are doing mentally, how are you supposed to know how the kids are actually feeling? Just how I wish things went.
Thanks for sharing that, Lexi. I know, Ryla, you also had something you wanted to share about this.
Should I just share what I was like saying, I guess?
Yeah, I
Like-
mean, was there more support that you wish that you had around turning 18?
Yeah, my parents told me that I was switching schools, and my therapist that I was with for a long time worked through the school, so I would just like for one day for a class, I wouldn't go to class and I'd go meet with her at school. And they had switched my schools and I was not able to meet with her. I started going downhill when I turned 18, and it was really a struggle for me without my therapist, because she was the one who always supported me.
Thank you for that.
Mhm.
Anybody have anything else they want to add on this question? All right, then our next question for our panelists is, what are you looking forward to in your adulthood? And how is that affected, if at all, by your past experiences in the system? Lexi, do you want to get us started?
Yeah. So like I said before, signing my own medical papers. With my worker, it took her for a long time to sign one of my medical papers for like medical like reasons, for like MRIs or like brain biopsies. So it would take her a while to do that, and it was always like a struggle to decide, saying like, oh well, when is she gonna sign this? When is she gonna sign that? Well, we have to wait a few weeks for it. When like it can't be signed now. So like that's why I was really excited when I first signed my first medical paper. I was at Gillette and I first just like signed, she gave me the paper and I signed it right off, and I was like, that's done. So that was really, really helpful for me to do.
So you really got a lot more control over your ability to make your own medical decisions, and
Most definitely, yeah.
And have those be, it sounds like they got a lot more efficient once you were able to sign things for yourself.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah. Leo, what would you like to share about this question?
I'm looking forward to getting out of Minnesota and exploring the world, because I've been all over Minnesota just because my history and just moving all over. And speaking when I get older, I would like to adopt a teenager, because I know how it feels to be left alone in that state, and how long you have left until you're 18, until you're all alone in the world, and not knowing what you're going to go through adulthood. And I'm planning to go to college for computer engineering and try to make it into the rap industry.
Yeah, thank you, Leo. Armanda, what are you looking forward to in your adulthood?
I'm extremely excited. So I'm in my 5th year of college. and soon to be obtaining my bachelor's degree in social work with my minors as well, which is super exciting. I also look forward to finding like my niche. Like I just want to help so many different populations and just like seeing what I can do in the future. So it's influenced, like the foster care system has influenced me personally through like the volunteering that I do with hospice and through Ampersand, and like the work that I do as well as a specialist at a group home and just the activism. It's helped me find my voice, know my rights, and to help other youth and young adults do the same.
Yeah. Does anybody have anything else to add in terms of like what their thoughts are as far as their career goes or their visions of family? I know Leo talked about wanting to adopt a teenager at some point. Any other thoughts on parenthood or family as far as things you're looking forward to?
A little bit.
Yeah, Ryla. And then I see Lexia, you've got your hand up too, so we can go to you after that.
Okay. So I have always wanted to be a mom ever since I got my first baby doll when I was like 8. And I just want my children to never have to go through any of the things that I ever went through. No pain and suffering. Like I know they're gonna get maybe bullied one time, that'll hurt their feelings, or fall down and scrape their knee and that'll hurt, but I don't ever want my kids to go through no traumatic events, no heartbreak. Like I just want to be there for them and help them have a good life. Something completely opposite from what my mom did to me.
Yeah, same as Rylook. I what I went through was not what I want my kids to ever go through, and I want to help like other kids that were in the system just like get out of that and have like a loving family, because there are too many kids out there who don't have that loving family, and they want that loving family. So.
And even myself, I've definitely thought about this, but I prefer to adopt like all of my future children, and foster maybe. I don't know. We'll see what time brings, but that's definitely something I've thought about.
Thank you. Yeah, Leo, did you have something else you wanted to share? I just saw the unmute happen.
Yeah, I'll just fourth everything that they said.
You're gonna fourth it?
Yeah.
Great. Thank you. So now we're going to get a chance to hear a little bit about what the audience members have responded to our 2 questions. The first of which is, what did turning 18 mean to you? Karina, can you help summarize or share some tidbits from the chat about what turning 18 meant to the participants on this call?
Absolutely. So I'll just kind of go down the list a bit. The first 2, 3, 4 immediately said freedom. Heading to college, scared, excited. Someone said freedom, but also recognizing that they had family to rely on for support. A little scared, graduation, independence, and being able to go to college on their own. Moving and going to college, being able to vote. Folks someone who's fortunate to have a stable family. Again, someone heading off to college, but able to live at home, so they felt secure. Getting, working, getting multiple jobs. Again, scary and exciting, moving out on my own, working full-time, going to college full-time, making my own choices, escaping my foster family and freedom and safety, anxious but excited, again, voting, heading off to college with the support of family, new experiences, new chapters, new responsibilities. And a lot of reflection of folks saying that they're, that those scared, anxious feelings and heading off into new chapters, but many people feeling like they had the stable, secure support of family during those times.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, everyone. And also thanks for helping to sort of summarize it, Karina. I appreciate that. And I think this is a question that I'll just share that when when we were all meeting to come up with this presentation, one of the comments that that multiple young people made was this idea that sometimes turning 18 for people who haven't been in care can seem like it's pretty uncomplicated or it's just exciting. And so part of our conversations that we had to do with how it can be more complicated if somebody is looking at the question of permanency or still being in the system while approaching that birthday. Is there anything, youth panelists, is there anything that you want to share or add now that you've gotten to hear a little bit more about what was going on for the audience members around this life moment? Okay. I'm seeing some heads shake, so that's great. Thank you. Now we'll get some answers to our second audience survey question, which is, why did you choose to work in child welfare? This is another question that directly came from the young people involved in this presentation. So Karina, are there any themes or diverse responses to this question that people were sharing?
Yeah, some folks, or one person started us off with wanting to help youth that needed someone to care about their future, bringing a social work person-centered perspective to child welfare, someone who experienced abuse as a child and was a teen mom themselves, personal experience with a parent struggling with alcohol and drug addiction, wanting to be a voice for others, wanting to support youth who have had similar experiences to themselves as a youth, issues in family of origin. So it seems like a lot of folks who felt that they had personal, and familial experience that may be similar in some ways to youth and other families that become involved in the child welfare system. So yeah, a lot of that. Youth are the future, and so wanting to be a supportive, honest, caring adult. Someone said it found me. Doing direct care right out of college. Someone said they were hooked ever since, wanting to empower children and be a voice, ensure safety, to advocate for children's well-being. Yeah, just a lot of general love and desire to support children, youth, and families. And definitely a lot of folks really wanting to empower and center the voices of folks who are often, silenced or unheard.
Thank you. Sounds like there's really a wide variety of experiences that people are bringing to this work. And I'm seeing some nods from the youth panelists in the video. Is there anything that that youth panelists want to share or feedback based on now hearing some of these answers from the audience members?
Yeah, I'd just like to say thank you for sharing that and being vulnerable with us as well, especially those of you who have personal experience in the system. And yeah, we appreciate it.
Yeah, Lexi, I see your hand.
I also want to say thank you for wanting to care about the kids too, because the kids need all the support need the support they can get. Because we might not have a whole lot, we might feel we don't have a whole lot of support, and I have to thank you guys a lot for it all.
Any other youth feedback right now?
Can I go?
Yeah, yes. And also, Ryla, I can't see your video. Other people can, I'm sure, but I can't. So yeah, just pop in. I don't want to miss you. Go for it.
I was gonna say thank you as well. I think it's amazing that you guys have been through, well, not amazing that you've been through a lot of hard things, but it's amazing that you want to inspire others with your voice and your experiences. And as well as Lexi said, just care for them, because it's really all everyone needs.
I'll third that with that, because I've been looking through chat and reading chat, and I don't know, it's just straight amazing that you guys been through this stuff, but you want to go back through it, but help kids out that's been going through that pain and struggle. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks, Ryla. Thanks, Leo, Lexi, Armanda. Appreciate it. So now we're going to go into our next set of questions for the youth panelists. So we're going to look for some youth perspectives here on what is something that you wish workers would have done differently than what you experienced in the system? And what are some things you want workers to know as they're working with other young people? So we'll start off with Lexi on this one.
So let's see, hold on. What is something you wish workers would have done differently? Oh, so something I wish my worker would have done differently was just pretty much just like care, just like show emotion towards it, and not just like say like show up every twice a month, or once every month, or every 2 months, and just want them to just show care. That's all they need. All the kids need is just care and emotion and support. I can't stress that enough. Like that's all we really want is just like support.
And I know that you've mentioned before, Lexi, about the importance of being listened to. And do you have anything that you would want workers to know as they're working with other youth? Lexi?
To know that we may have, us adults or us like teenagers, even youth, might have trust issues, but just give them some time to just trust you, because they will eventually at one point trust you. Just give them time though. I know it took me a while to trust my family and trust everyone I've been with. It's taking me a while to trust everybody, all my friends, because I have got terrible trust issues. Like I don't trust anybody. I really don't. I don't trust nobody. So just give them time to just warm to you and trust you, because it'll happen.
And one other thing, Lexi, you don't have to talk about it if you don't want to, but I know one thing that we talked about before was you had said some things were pretty important around sibling relationships.
Oh yeah, don't split siblings up. It hurts the siblings a lot. Like I know I got my siblings I was split up from my siblings a year and a half ago. And that hurt me for a while because they weren't at a place where they really needed to be. And they weren't here either because they weren't with me, and that's what hurt me. And I know they weren't doing well without me either. So if you split siblings up, it makes it harder for them to go on, and makes it harder for the other siblings to make it go on. So just keep the siblings together. If it's at any possible point, so please keep them together.
Thank you, Lexi. Leo, could you?
Yeah, I was gonna add on to that.
Yeah, go for it.
I don't know, but since she's like said that, I might have just like had a little thing click in my mind. I haven't had my brother and sister in my life. Like we've been split up for a long time. And I don't know if that's the reason why like it's hard for me to trust or hard for me to love now, but I feel it could be a factor. But yeah.
Yeah, I definitely say the same thing. Like it's hard for me to even say I love you. Like those words to me just don't feel natural coming out of my mouth because it's just so hard for me to say.
I'm seeing a lot of nods. Leo, oh, go ahead. I hear you.
Yes, I wanted to share, to me, like the most important thing that, like, I don't know how to say it. So something I wish workers would have done differently was like listen to me and what I wanted. Like if you're in the health and human service field, like you are taught that the client is always right. So I think that's important to emphasize that. And what did I want workers to know? Okay. I want them to know that family reunification isn't always the greatest option. But going off of Lexi as well, like with trust and splitting siblings up, like it is very hard and it's very traumatic. And I think we all kind of express that we understand that same.
Thank you, Armanda. I know, Ryla, you also had some things to say about things you wish workers would have done differently than what you experienced and some advice.
Yeah, so I was put in a pre-adoptive home before my parents who adopted me. And there was a home check done and all the necessities. They passed everything. And she had her son living in the house with us, her adult son, who was doing drugs in the basement. And there was also her 4-year-old granddaughter living with us. So I was not okay with the drug piece of it or the fact that they would like leave to go to work and leave the little girl at home alone. Like that, like little girl meant so much to me. And I saw myself as a young girl in her. So I like was trying to tell my workers what was going on and they would not believe me. They were like, a home check was done, everything was done, like there's no way. And I was like, yes, this is happening. And nobody would believe me and nobody would understand me. I even tried going to my pre-adoptive mother about it and she just like was not gonna talk to me about it at all. She knew, she just didn't care. Um, and it ended up to where like I felt so unheard that I tried to commit suicide and I ended up in a coma for a week. So my workers in return not listening to me kind of almost costed me my life. I wish I would have had their support in all of that. And that was a very hard time for me with them just not being there after they would always be there consistently and listen. And this time they just didn't. And then
Thank you.
also for like the second part, the sibling piece, me and my sister also got separated and then she turned to drugs because I feel like she felt alone. You know, she had nothing else to run to. And now our relationship will never ever be the same. I still see her, I still hang out with her, but she is not the same person at all and never will be.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing about that, Ryla. And just to be clear, you did get out of that situation that was so hard for you, right? That family situation that was unsafe.
Yeah, I did. I got into another home. It was emergency placement, and then I stayed there for a while, and they were like, "We want to adopt you," and I was like, "Okay." So yeah.
Thank you. There, I'm seeing some smiles and some nods from some of the other young people. Is there anything else that any of you would like to add about things you'd like workers to have done differently or advice for workers as they're working with other young people?
I don't know in what way to state or put this. I felt alone a lot of times, but I couldn't always say that I was alone because I know my social worker was trying, but yeah, I don't know how to put it. I don't know how to put it.
You can just take a minute. And if you want to share, we've got a minute for you.
Here, just come back to me.
For sure. All right. We'll just move on to our next question. And if those words come to you, Leo, you can just shout them out because you'll have more chances. All right. So our next question for our youth panelists is, what did your worker do? What things did your workers do that really made a positive difference for you? So Lexi, if you want to answer this one first, that would be great.
Yeah, so my guardian ad litem was like, she was a really great worker. She was always there and listening to me, and I feel like I really love that about her. She came all the time and always like sat down with me and asked me how I was doing and how things were going. And like I said before, I think that's a really, really good thing that kids just need, is that care and support from even workers, because they're part of our lives now and they're like another family. So I think that part of the family should also care. So she really did help me. She helped me learn to walk for the second time. I had to relearn how to walk because I had my foot surgery. And I didn't really know how to I forgot how to use my foot a little bit. I was kind of also a little bit scared too. But she also helped me do that. She kept supporting me, give me confidence and saying girl, you got this, you got this, you got this. And it's just, I really, really appreciate that about her.
Thanks for sharing about that positive impact, Lexi. Leo, I know you've got some things to say on this one.
Well, it's shout out to Belva because she was there for me when I needed her. It always wasn't right away, but because I know she had her own stuff to do. But she would always get back to me as soon as possible. She would give me a call, email me or something, try to text me or try to get a hold of me. And when I was in group homes out in St. Paul, it was a hard time for me. And it had me really depressed. But when I asked for her to get out of the group homes when I really needed to, she was there and she did it for me. And surprisingly, 2 months later, I'm now adopted. And that was back in 2016.
Thank you, Leo. Shout out to Belva. All right, Ryla, are there some things that your workers did that really made a positive difference for you?
Yeah, I should probably go back on my answer before this. I did sabotage everything a lot, so that might have been a reason why they weren't really listening to me. But rather than that incident, they were very good workers. I mean, I had them for like my whole entire life, and they would never sugarcoat anything. They'd always tell me how it is and not keep anything from me. And they would always be there every time we had our meetings. They would never like call and say, "Hey, I'm coming," and then not show up. Like, it was always consistent with them.
Thank you. And yeah, Armanda.
I'd have to agree with Ryla about how my last social worker and even my adoption worker through Ampersand Families made a really positive impact on me by being trustworthy and to their word. Back then, I was in a foster home, in Browns Valley and in Moorhead, which is farther away from the cities. And they made the commitment to come down and meet with me in person instead of just calling and not showing up like other social workers have in the past. And they made sure to validate my feelings and my experiences. And they really helped me find my voice, which is why MYVoice, the program here, is super close to my heart, and I'm very thankful for what they've done.
Does anybody have any other thoughts to add on this? One theme that I've been hearing you share is that how important it was that workers showed that they were trustworthy, and that follow through, and then also trusting you and your experiences, like Leo was saying, and taking action on your behalf. Any other things that you would have to share on this one? Any of the young people? Okay. All right. Well, I really appreciate you sharing your experiences, each of you. Right now, we actually have time to get to some questions from the audience members. So if Stacy has been able to keep track of those, we can see how many of them we have time for. And also for all the young people, all the panelists on this call, if there's anything that comes to you that you remember that you want to share, or that you had in your notes, or that just comes to you in a lightning bolt, feel free to pop in with that answer, because this is the time for it, the Hear My Voice panel, and we want you to be heard. So Stacy, have you gotten any good questions from the chat to share with the young people here?
So actually, I don't know that I have access to the Q&A. So if Karina got any Q&As, otherwise, if folks have any questions for the young people, they can throw them in the chat here. And if we have similar overlapping questions, we can also just find some themes. So yeah, this is kind of a free for all if anyone has questions. Specifically for, if they're for an individual, you can feel free to address that person, or just for all of them. That would be great.
Yeah, everyone, please feel free to ask your questions right in the chat. And do you want me to read them, Stacey, or can you see them? They're coming in fast.
Yep, I can see them. Okay,
Okay.
I'll go ahead. Thank
Okay.
you. Okay, so let's start with, what did foster care not prepare you for that you wish that it would have? Wants to start. What did foster care prepare you for that you wish it would have?
So what did foster care not prepare you for?
Yeah,
Is that
that
what
you
said,
wish.
Stacey?
Yep.
Okay.
I can go if that's okay.
Yeah, and then I see a hand from Leo also, and from Armanda, I think. So yeah, you can all take a chance at that one. Go for it, Ryla.
Even though I had like wonderful foster parents and like a good adoptive parent home, they like, it was hard for me to understand family dynamics, especially even like to now, like the way a family really is, and like normal like family. So now I'm kind of nervous for when I create a family, like how am I going to navigate things when I had never seen like a healthy, good like family dynamics. But I guess I'm gonna have to figure that out on my own.
Thank you, Ryla. Go for it, Leo. I saw your nonverbals going while Ryla was answering.
I felt that a lot. I was like, well, how is that gonna work? Like, I don't understand for myself either. Like, I've never actually had that little, oh, I'm the baby. Do I change the diaper? Do I like, oh, I don't know. And it's just like finding what like real love is in family, like understand, like it's hard for me to understand that, even though like, or else like how a family should act with each other or stuff like that. I don't know, but yeah.
Yeah, I totally third that. But I guess what it didn't prepare me for was all the other things that come with adulting. Like, I know they're supposed to implement like life skills and stuff like that, but my social workers in the past never really took the time to do that. For the majority of the time, it was focusing on prepping for trial and stuff with court. And my guardian ad litem actually did a lot of that, like life skill talk. So I appreciated her for that. But with like how to file taxes, or how to, I don't even like get in, like find a coupon for oil changes, like how to change a tire, like I don't know, just basic things that you don't really.
Your audio just cut out a little bit, Armanda. Is Armanda frozen for anybody else?
She's frozen.
Okay. Oh, you just, maybe you're unfreezing. Yeah, you're frozen.
Maybe Armanda, for your connection, if you turn your camera off, it might free up some of your own. There you go.
And then Lexi, did you don't have to, but did you have anything that you wanted to answer in terms of this question? Like, what did foster care not prepare you for?
Yeah, saying like what everyone else is saying about the family. How are you supposed to like be with like how am I supposed to like learn to like love like with like a family? Because I never knew what it was when I was younger. So it's kind of like with like the trusting thing too. Like I don't know like how to ever like trust somebody. It takes me forever to trust somebody. And then my guardian ad litem also gave me like a lot of like skills and like how to like, trust people, and like how to like trust and like life skills too. So yeah, I agree with everyone on here.
Thank you. Any other thoughts on that question, panelists?
All right, so thank you for asking questions. There are quite a few, so I will do my best. From, let's see, what words or wisdom would you share with other children or young people in the same situation that are about to turn 18? So just words of advice to other young folks in foster care.
Leo, I see Leo, Lexi. Yep.
So honestly, I don't know if I could speak for everybody on this one, but don't put too much trust into someone, like, and to people. And like be wary, don't be scared about your future, but be wary. And take your time with your steps, but don't take too long, because then you'll set yourself back. If you take time and put your effort into something, you will succeed and you will make it. And you just got to get your mind set and focused on something, and you can do it.
Right, like what Leo said, if you keep your mind and head on to something, you can do it. You will get there. Just don't trust them and just be weary about it. But still, be like open to trusting, but don't be too trusting to it or to anybody or anything.
So
Lila?
I
Yeah.
also go with what Leo said. I found myself kind of jumping into turning 18, like, oh, I gotta move out. Oh, I gotta go be on my own and go do everything on my own. I don't need you, to my parents. And like after I like cut them off, then I was like, I kind of miss my parents. I kind of need them in my life. I kind of shouldn't have done that. But I felt like I just wanted to get away, you know, and like see what it was like to be independent. And yeah, that's all.
Armanda, you don't have to, but do you have anything that you would share on this one? Words of advice for other young people?
Yeah, if this is working. I
Yep,
did
we can hear you.
kind of talk about this on like the CASCW article and the podcast. But I guess all I have to say is just know like you're not alone. Find your chosen family, know your rights, fight for your rights, and just know like you deserve a loving family. And that's something you should totally fight for too, if that's what you want.
I'm seeing nods from other young people, from Leo and from Lexi. I still can't see Ryla, sorry. If you have any nonverbals you need to get shared, feel free to speak up. See, other questions, Stacy?
Yeah, so thanks for sharing advice with young people. Now, this question is, what advice might you have for someone or a family or a person who is interested in adopting in Minnesota, interested in adopting older youth?
Okay.
I see
Is it okay
Lexi.
if I go?
Yep, go for it, Ryla, and then Lexi. Yeah.
Okay, so it was very hard for me at first to, like I said earlier, understand family dynamics, but also like siblings sometimes. Like when I was in foster care, they had one kid there who was like their grandson, and I felt like he was like favorited kind of. So like if you have multiple kids, like I don't know, like spread the love, I guess. I don't know. Yeah.
So I will try to
I
help her
think
out. Oh wait, Lexi was gonna go. Oh, sorry about that.
Lexi was gonna go. You can go next, Leo.
Yeah.
There's room for everybody.
Just like beware of don't play favoritism, because that really hurts the kids too if you play favoritism. I know one of my teachers in high school played favoritism, and I got really upset about it, and I ended up dropping choir because I just didn't want to be around the favoritism anymore, because it was not okay for me anymore. It was like mentally hurting me. And after I dropped choir from dropped the teacher who was doing the favoritism, I felt a lot better because I didn't like it, so I definitely felt better. But show each kid love individually, and just the same amount of love too.
Leo.
Yeah, like I would say kids, well, I can say that probably all of us we get jealous easy as a kid, very jealous. So if it hurts if you don't get treated the same, either respect or um same kindness or caringness or the same love as a different kid, and that's in the same house, and it can really build depression up.
Thank you, Leo.
There's so
Armando,
many.
yeah. Did you have anything to share? You don't have to, but if you want to, you sure can. Just want everybody to
Oh,
get.
I think everyone totally touched base on it, but kind of going off of what Leo said, like it's something that's never really talked about. But it's kind of like that white elephant in the room. Like you just feel it, you know? Like even if it's Christmas presents and you get like socks and the other kids, you know, just the little things make the biggest difference.
Yeah, thank you. Stacey?
All right, here's a good one. So if you all could change one thing or rule about foster care, what would it be?
I'm seeing thoughtful faces. So
I had to
whoever's got an answer first, go for it. Yeah.
I had to think about this one for a second. And my first actually like traumatic experience was being ripped from my mom's arms. And it was very hard for me. Me and my sister had gotten home from school. There was a note on the door. My mom said she was grocery shopping. Um, Later on, like the P lady came, that's what we called her, because we were young, we didn't really know, and she came to give my mom the tests. And so she told my mom, like, we're taking your kids. And on the voicemail, because my sister answered the voicemail when we got home, and she told me I'd go pack all my favorite toys and said we're gonna go leave for a while. So I went to go start pack all my toys, and my mom just got home. Then the worker got there and started taking me and my sister, wouldn't let my mom hug us, like say goodbye at all, like just ripped us out of her arms. I was screaming and crying as loud as I could. So that, I don't know, that just was not fun at all. So I guess that's my answer.
Yeah, Lexi. I see your hand up, Lexi.
So I would definitely say, yeah, one thing that foster people, the county does is they do rip kids away from families like a lot. And that's also very, very hurtful because you can at least let them say goodbye. But don't just rip the kids away from them because that's also traumatic for the kids and the parent. And it does cause a lot of depression too.
Yeah. And I feel like there was the items that the youth shared before about siblings as well. Anything else to share in answer to this question, panelists? Thanks, Ryla. Thanks, Lexi, for sharing.
All right, so there are several questions about fostering connections or independent living skills programming. And I know several of you were adopted before you turned 18, so likely didn't have access to those programs. But if you want to talk about those programs, you can feel free. And then the other question around that is, are there any programs or services or groups that you wish that you had access to kind of while you were in the system? So any kinds of opportunities that you had wished you had.
So the opportunity that I wish I had when I was in the system was I never got to play sports. It was something that I always wanted to do, but like I guess the foster parents like would not let us do that. We couldn't do it because we're in foster care. I don't know why, but it was something that I would always ask, like, I want to be in sports. I want to be in sports. And my sister would just say, like, that's something that people like us don't get to have. Like, maybe when we go back with mom, you can do that. But, you know, that never really happened that way. So that was one opportunity that I wish that I had when I was in foster care.
I definitely agree with what Ryla said about like the foster kids not being able to do like the sports and stuff like that. Like I think that they should be able to do them. Like I feel like the county should like or like say like, oh yeah, you can do that. And like I feel like they don't really do that a whole lot of the time.
I was gonna say, well, high school I was able to play football, but I was more wishing I was able to play football back in middle school because, but yeah.
Sorry, Leo, you're muted, but I can see you laughing. And I'm just sharing that with people who aren't able to see you or hear you right now. So football in middle school would have been a game changer. Sounds like. Yep. And you're nodding and smiling. Anything else to add on this one? Anybody?
Do any of you have any ideas for any kinds of programs or how like the general community could have supported you better? Like thinking creatively outside the box? Yeah, Greta?
I think, well, it's not really like a program or like, it's like kind of how people could support me better. I don't know if any of you did too. I mean, probably did if I did. Got bullied a lot. Um, you don't have a family. At least I have a family. Where's your mommy? Where's your daddy? They're druggies, blah, blah, blah. You know, like, why do you get to change your name? Why do you have to do that? Like, people would always call me by my birth name just to like make me mad, and they knew how irritated it would make me be. So I feel like in like school and all that stuff, like the more educated kids who are not in foster care can be, would really help support the kids who are in foster care. Like other kids need to understand like this is not easy at all for us. Like, and to bully us for something like that, that is not fair at all.
Thank you, Ryla. Lexi, I see your hand.
I definitely agree with what Ryla said. I feel like kids should be educated about foster kids. So I do like pick on people with people to be like for something that they didn't do, and it wasn't their fault at all. I pick on someone for something that wasn't their fault, and they have no control over it. It really is hard.
Yeah, going off of that, I think like just education around foster care and what that entails in all aspects, just making it a normal part of conversation would help to kind of implement the community wanting to implement things for foster youth. Like even growing up, it was just like, oh, so you're an orphan? Like people don't really even understand what foster care is exactly. They just assume you don't have parents, or you just came from nothing. So I think that's where it should start.
It's like a stigma. It's like a stigma. And I feel like it shouldn't be a stigma because it's not something that the kids did. It's not the kids' fault, but it's like it shouldn't be such a bad thing. Because in some cases, foster care is a good thing, but in other cases, it probably isn't. I just feel like it shouldn't be such a stigma.
Yeah, thank you, Lexi and Armanda.
All right. So I know we've touched a little bit on birth family today. We talked about siblings. And so this is kind of a general question around birth family. So even if reunification wasn't possible in your situation, were you able to keep in contact with your birth family, even when you were in foster homes or adopted? And then how was that for you? Let's start with Ryla.
Lex. Okay, great. And then Lexi, I see your hand up too.
So for a while, I lived with my sister. And after that, I went to like treatments and group homes because I started being bad. And that's when I kind of like lost the connection with my mom after we went to court and I had to watch her give up her rights and all that. I also think that that was not okay. I don't think that as a child, should have sat in a courtroom watching my mom bawl her eyes out, like giving up her rights at the stand. I like at one point in time in the court session freaked out on the judge and I started screaming and crying and I was just this little girl. So the cop like grabbed my wrist and brought me outside. But anyways, what was I saying before that? I'm so sorry. um what was the question again? Could you do that so I can remember the answer? I'm sorry, I got off track with the answer.
All right. And it was a question about birth family
Yeah,
relationships.
okay.
No problem.
So my mom, after that, like we kind of lost touch for a few years. And now just recently, about a year or two ago, I started talking to her again. She is a recovering addict. She's trying her hardest, but she relapses a lot. It's really hard for me to keep in contact with my birth family because they're all drug addicts and it like I have to take care of them. It's a lot of stress on me, but if I don't like have contact with them, then it's even more stress because I always feel like they're not safe because I know they're not and homeless and they're really struggling and I try my hardest to be like the light in their world and to like make them stop and realize that this isn't right and that they could have so much better, but it's up to them to want to change. So I think it's not really good for me to have contact with my birth family, but I love them.
So, uh, no, I was not able to have contact with my birth family. Well, my birth mom, at least. My brother and sister I had contact with, but it was always on and off with my brother and sister. And definitely with my brother, I barely talked to him ever. And my sister, she would call me a lot, sometimes too much. Um, but when back in 2016, I was trying to contact my mom and it didn't really go well. But now, and then she actually texted me the day I got adopted. And it was really weird because she didn't even know I got adopted. But she texted me literally right after the ceremony and got adopted. And yeah, it was weird. But I don't like talking to her because like just like my sister and brother both tried to go back down there and my brother went to jail and my sister she's not doing well. And so it's just like why should I put my trust in you when you haven't even showed me I should trust you. But
Yeah, Lexi. Thank you, Leo.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Leo, but so I actually just recently in August got into contact with my birth mom and my birth dad. I've been in contact with my birth grandmother since February, and it's been nice to just talk to them. At the same time, it's like a little hard because when I was like 15, I think my dad had to send his rights away, and they're both recovering addicts, so it's really hard too. So, but I am in contact. I talk to them pretty much every day.
Yeah. So it seems like we're getting to the point in time that we can kind of wrap things up. I want to be respectful of everybody's time today, but we are going to give each of the young people, we'll go Lexi, Leo, Ryla, Armanda, to give you a chance to share a last thought. And maybe as you're getting a chance to share your last thought, I just know some of these last questions were pretty intense and I really appreciate everything that you've shared with the audience members today. And I'm wondering when you are sharing your last thoughts, if you would maybe also be willing to share one personal strength or something that you're proud of about yourself that has come to you through your experiences in the system foster care and with adoption, because I know that each of you have a lot of accomplishments and a lot of personal strengths that that you bring to this conversation. So if you'd want to each take a moment to say some last words, I'd love to hear from each one of you. Lexi,
So I'd love to say thank you for listening to us. It really meant a lot, and just thank you for listening. And I hope you guys learned some things from our experiences. And one thing I've learned from being in foster care was I've learned the experience to be humble and not too cocky about things.
Thanks, Lexi.
I would like to say thank you guys for listening to our story and taking your time out of the day to come and just listen to how our life's been, how we've been dealing with our life or what we've been going through. But one thing I definitely learned is just to keep my mouth shut and just watch, observe.
Thank you guys all so much. I seen in one of the chats, someone said, thank you. You guys are all so inspiring, and that's literally my goal. So I'm happy about that. And one thing I learned from foster care was to always kind of, I guess, be humble, but always just be grateful for what you have. You know, like some people don't even have a family, and it's really hard to like sit there and watch others like have that. It's not something that you have. So I was just humble myself and just appreciate everyone that I have around me that is here to support me.
And I just wanted to thank you all as well for actively listening. To kind of wrap everything up, just like a reminder that turning 18 is a big deal to foster youth, and having that support after could make all the difference in that youth's life. So I encourage you to listen to your clients' wants and needs. Remember that family reunification isn't always the safest option for the youth, and to validate your clients' feelings
You're
as
lagging.
well.
Yeah, we lost just the last half sentence there, Armanda, if you want to say it one more time.
Okay. And I said, and validating your clients' feelings is major in creating rapport with the youth as well. And something that I've learned is I've found my voice through foster care and my passions and just like what I want to do with my life in the future. So thank you again.
Stacey, did you need to add anything before I wrap up?
No, thank you everyone for being here, and especially thanks to the youth for their bravery and honesty, and Emily, thanks for facilitating.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I just would like to say thank you to CASCW for hosting us here today. Thanks to each of the youth in this conversation. Thank you to the youth on this call, as well as thank you to the youth who have been a part of this process through their artwork, through participating in our planning meetings, those young people who weren't able to be with us today. And I just would like to say that things that I have learned from working with the panelists and the other young people in MYVoice is just that the extraordinary resilience and creativity, positivity of the young people on this panel. I have really appreciated their bravery and their vulnerability in terms of sharing these stories, their skillfulness in expressing themselves, and their willingness to help other people in all kinds of ways, to be there for their peers, and to also teach all the professionals who are working in the system, working with other young people, and just being a part of that connection, education, and change that is the core of the MYVoice program. So we encourage everybody to keep track of what's happening with MYVoice. The best way to know the up-to-the-minute information about our program is to follow us on Instagram. We're at MN Youth Voice on Instagram. And also, if you're working with young people, especially young people ages 12 to 22, please encourage them to follow us on Instagram, because that way they're going to get the invites to the events that we're putting on, our virtual hangouts, which is the primary way that we're getting together during the pandemic. But we're also having, we all have a variety of opportunities like the MYVoice Interactive Art Show that young people participated in. And we do pay young people to be a part of our leadership work and to contribute their artwork to our programs. So you can also check out our website at myvoicemn.org. Thanks so much, everybody. Thanks to Ampersand Families and all of our funders. And thanks first and foremost, primarily and always, to the young people of MYVoice. I really appreciate all that you've done to make this possible. Thanks so much.
Oh, thank you all so much. That was so powerful, and I can only echo Emily and Stacy and everyone in these comments, which I've screenshotted so you can look at it later, and just how powerful and incredible you all are, and just these reminders that we cannot do this work without you, and your voices should always be centered and at the table, creating the tables. And so I just really want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for sharing your really personal stories and experiences and just your really powerful words. So thank you all, and we'll let everyone just kind of slowly log off, and hope you all have a good rest of your day, and tune in. We have one more webinar in the series next Wednesday, and you can find that information on the website, but I will also be following up with PowerPoint, CEUs, MYVoice, Ampersand resources, and everything after too. So thank you again, everyone.